In this video, we're going to take a look at the event editor, which is going to be a very, very powerful tool for creating dynamic events inside of a scenario. One thing I will say with the event editor is the basic use of the event editor will give you the ability to make things happen when other things trigger it, but it'll also be expandable using Lua, which will be something we'll take a look at a little later on. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go up to Editor. We're going to go down to our Event Editor, and we're going to click on Events. Keep in mind there are different options depending on what you're trying to achieve here. Events are basically going to be, like I said, anything that gets triggered. We have triggers, conditions, actions, and special actions. Think of a special action as something that you can activate at any time or given a scenario. For example, a special action could represent some sort of hack that causes a bunch of weapons to launch prematurely or something like that. Or pressing special actions will make a sudden ambush of airplanes appear. That's all going to be under this particular action. We'll take a look at those later. So we're going to go ahead and click Events. We're going to create a new event. And it's going to bring us up to this page, which is going to allow us to go ahead and control the different pieces of our event. The first one's going to be a description of our event. So in this case, I'm going to call this a loss of airplane. Simple. We're going to make this one repeatable because it's going to be possible to lose more than one airplane. We're also going to go ahead and now have to add our triggers, our conditions, and our actions. All events require one trigger, and all events require one action. So I'm going to click on Edit Triggers, and now we can go ahead and create our new trigger. So in this case, we're simply going to say unit is destroyed, create new trigger, and we're going to say airplane was destroyed. Now we can define what triggers this particular scenario. For example, I can say we're going to use orange side here. Target type, we're going to say aircraft. We're not going to do any sort of target subtype. Pretty much any loss of any airplane is going to trigger this effect. I'm going to press the OK button. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Click here. Airplane was destroyed, and then add the trigger. Next, we're going to go ahead and define a condition. Consider conditions, basically, this kicks the event off. This checks something before it actually activates the action. So I'm going to click on Edit Conditions. I'm simply going to add a simple one that says side posture, or I could do scenario has started. So I'm simply going to say scenario has started. Go ahead and close this one. Add this as my condition. And now we'll take a look at our action. So I'm going to click on Edit Actions. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new action. So in this particular case, we're going to go ahead and add some points in the negative category because we've lost an airplane. So I'm going to go to Points, Create New Action. I'm going to say lose 10 points. We'll say this to our orange side, and we'll go ahead and do -10. I'm also going to create another one called gain 10 points. Point depends in green. We'll go ahead and be a little more specific. Say green, 10 points. I'm actually going to edit this one real quickly because we should always be more specific. There we go. So now we gain 10 points for green, we lose 10 points for orange. Keep in mind, any sort of action, we can come down here and use Lua scripts as well if we want to get a little more sophisticated. So I'm going to go ahead and add both of these actions because it represents what happens. Now, if we lose any airplane, we're instantly going to gain ourselves a certain number of points. Keep in mind, actions are other items such as being able to end the scenario, teleporting units to an area, sending a message, changing the status of a mission. For example, if I detect a certain unit, I could trigger a mission status change or to trigger a Lua script, which is where the real power in a particular scenario is going to be. I'm now going to press the OK button, and now you're going to see a brand new event is represented right up at the top here. So in this case, if I lose any sort of airplane at any point during the scenario, it's going to cost me a certain number of points. So if you're wondering about points, by the way, if you were to go over to the scoring option, you'll see my current score is 0. I've lost nothing. Now there's been no points issued at any particular point. We could even design a very, very simple script that would actually go ahead and create individual points in that particular part. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick suicide run with this particular aircraft just to demonstrate the danger of getting a little bit too close to the action, so to speak. Switch to green team. I'll go ahead and flip on their multifunction radar here. And we've spotted that one. We're going to engage them immediately. Go ahead and declutter a map just a tiny bit here. And weapon away. And there, just like that. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to the other side. We'll go to orange. We'll go to scoring. And we'll notice our current score is now -10 because that particular event got triggered. You can see I was doing great. I was doing great when we lost that airplane pretty much right away. Keep in mind, you can go in there and use those to do all sorts of things. Now, the second type of event you can create is what they call a special action. A special action is basically something that you can trigger at any time. So I'll go over to Editor, I'm going to go to Event Editor, and do Special Actions. So I'm going to create a new special action. Let's say, we'll call this one, Give Me Points. This action provides the user with 100 points. Now, keep in mind, all special actions have to be written in Lua. You can't simply go in here and basically go to town and create a bunch of attached triggers. You're going to have to write out the entire script yourself in order to use this. In this case, we'll go ahead and take a look, and we have the option to add points. So let's go ahead and poke through our different options real quickly here. So all we're going to do is go ahead and send edit. We're going to say set score. The side that we're interested in this particular case is going to be green. And we're going to go ahead and increase the score by 100. And our reason is because you push the button. So now we've gone ahead and created a super simple little script completely in Lua. So now we're going to be able to go ahead and add that up to the top of our screen here. So I'm going to press the OK button here. And I can also define this as being something that is repeatable. So once we've gone ahead and created this one, we want to make sure the active checkbox is clicked. If we want to edit it, we can always double click. Go ahead and close that one. And now what's going to happen is when we reopen our scenario is we're going to have a brand new button. And there you can see it right at the top of the screen. We have a special action, which gives us the ability to now click on this. And then I can simply execute this to go ahead and give myself those points that we just saw a minute ago. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our current score, and we can see that our current score is 0. We're going to go ahead and go to special action. We're going to say, give me points, press execute, press OK. And now what will happen is when I check my scoring here, you'll notice that I now have a score of 100 from that little piece there that says, because you pushed the button. Now, keep in mind, you don't just have to use that for points. You can create very, 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 very complicated special actions that do a number of different items depending on exactly what you're trying to achieve in a given scenario. So with the event editor, like I said, you can do quite a bit of different things with it. The Lua stuff is where it gets very, 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 very powerful. But just keep in mind, whenever you're working with events, if you do make something repeatable, keep in mind that it's going to be repeated. If you make something trigger at the beginning of a scenario, you have to be very careful because every time somebody opens the scenario, it will re-trigger that particular event. And you're going to run up in a situation where you have way more units, for example, than you need in a scenario.